As part of Ferrari Fridays, William Ross from the Exotic Car Marketplace will be discussing all things Ferrari and interviewing people that live and breathe the Ferrari brand. Topics range from road cars to racing, drivers to owners, as well as auctions, private sales, and trends in the collector market.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ferrari Marketplace Podcast. My name's William, and I'll be your host, narrator. Guess whatever you want to call me during that episode. I guess what I'm doing, interviewing or talking now. So I guess I'll be wearing many different hats, right? So, anyways, I want to introduce you guys to myself and what we're going to be doing with the Ferrari Marketplace. Trying to get this up and running. I have big plans. Hopefully, going forward here, we can make it all come to fruition. But plan on doing here is with the Marketplace website itself. As you can see, we handle some private client sales and whatnot. But what I want to do is expanding on the site itself. But one, I want to start doing these podcasts, get out there with these podcasts. I want to, do interviews, talk to people that are in the industry, people that work in the dealers, drivers, racers, anyone who's got some affiliation or, just lives and breathes Ferrari, so as anyone out there who's listening, if you want to chit chat a little bit about the Ferrari brand itself and what you do in it, shoot me an email, drop me a line and let me know, because we'll get you on here and we'll talk a little bit about it. But the other step I want to do is also I'm going to start doing some YouTube videos also, get on that train and start doing some things. I'm going to get started right off the bat. Next week, I am headed down to Florida to go to the Cavalino Classic that starts next week. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with that. I'm sure many of you are, but that's going to be an outstanding event. They put on a phenomenal event down there for this thing. And this year, since it's the 75th anniversary of Ferrari, they have something special planned on the 22nd in regards to, now I don't know if they're going to have 75, one from every year or what, I don't know, but they're supposed to have like 75 Ferraris lined up, and I'm assuming it's going to be, one from every year, one from the genre or whatnot. But I mean, there's going to be a collection of some absolutely gorgeous cars down there. So I'm going to get some video of that, talk to some owners, see if we can, dig up down there. But I'm also going to go over to, I don't know if any of you heard of, go on their website, but the Revs Institute. This is a phenomenal facility down in Naples, Florida. They have, I think, if not one of the largest or the largest collection of auto memorabilia in regards to, I guess you would say, literature, history, documentation. They're very, very high on keeping all that stuff intact and trying to keep it in one place. And, actually, as long as you have time, people are allowed to come down, utilize it for a project, what have you, go through it, obviously depending on the age or whatnot, taking good care of with your hands, and you don't want to get oily stuff in that, wearing gloves and what have you. But those guys down there are phenomenal. So actually I'm going to be down there on Thursday. My first day, I'm just going to fly in and shoot right over to the Revs and do a little walkthrough. It'll be the first time I've ever been there, but checking things out on their website, it looks like it's going to be phenomenal. They got some awesome cars there, and these guys do some fabulous stuff down there. So I'm hoping to talk with a few of those guys there also and do that. So, but that's kind of what I'm trying to get going here with the website. I kind of want to be all encompassing, everything Ferrari. I know there's a bunch out there, but I kind of want to make it a little more personable. I want everyone to kind of be able to feel us. There's lots of things we could do. Shoot me your ideas. If you have some thoughts, whatnot, let me know. Test them out and see what we can do. All of us out there are very passionate about the brand, and we always want to kind of be part of it somehow, some way. Not many of us are fortunate enough to be in a tax bracket where we can afford to have a Ferrari. Let alone some people out there that got multiple ones. So, us people that are in that boat, hey, this is the way we can be part of the Ferrari family, I guess, so to speak. So, but anyway, I guess what I want to get into, in this first episode, to break the ice, break the champagne bottle against the ship and get going with this. The big thing, this is Ferrari's 75th anniversary. So they've been around for 75 years. The big guy started this shindig back in 1947. And, Obviously, it was an interesting road how he got to there. I'm sure many of you are very, very familiar with his whole backstory and everything, how he got, obviously, starting young and, he was actually started at, CMN and, just kind of, actually, as they keep putting, you look at stuff, says scrapping parts, cars into trucks into small cars, something along those lines. But anyways, then moving over to Alfa Romeo. And, obviously when he started there, he just, started to work his way up. But that's where they actually started the famous Scuderia Ferrari name. Obviously they were running Alfa Romeos, but, they were using that because it was under his kind of, race shop, so to speak. So he was able to do that and get out there and race his Alfa Romeos, and they were actually very successful. He did very well. He raced a little bit when he was younger, but, once he started doing this, I guess, we'd say he found his niche in regards to how he could handle stuff. So, he started running the team, and then, some things happened because the Alfa Romeo wanted to, I guess, have more control over it, as this usually happens. Someone makes something successful, someone bigger wants to come and take it away from you. So, but part of the, I guess, separation agreement was, he couldn't, was it 4 years or 5 years, I believe it was, that, he wasn't allowed to have his own race team like that. So he just started making car parts and whatnot and setting himself up because he had his plan. He knew what he was going to do. He wanted to build race cars. And, unfortunately, the war came, so he got forced into doing stuff for that regime that was in charge there. But on the plus side of it, it really kind of helped set him up going forward. I mean, even though his facilities got bombed out a couple times and he had to rebuild, but it was kind of setting him up, for the future to start building the race cars he wanted. Now, one of the big things, that his accountants were trying to get across to him, as we all know, is, he wasn't so much about road cars. He really could care less about them. He was more about all his race cars. He just wanted to go out and race and win. But, they kind of talked to him and let him know, say, look, Enzo, you really need to build road cars to fund all your race cars. So, because prize money and that stuff back then was basically non-existent. So that's not going to be a way you're going to be able to fund building, all these race cars. And as everyone knows out back then is, technology and everything was just jumping as leaps and bounds. It was how fast it was growing. So you have something, and a year or two later, that thing was so obsolete, it was just basically considered scrap or junk. As we all know, hindsight be 20/20. If I was to go back in time in a time machine, we'd all be jumping on buying these, old Testarossas and get ourselves on some GTOs and whatnot and stash them away somewhere and come back to the now time. It'd be all very, very fat and happy. So, but anyways, so he got himself going, and once everything was over, he came out. His first car was that 125S. Very, very, very nice little compact car. I'm gonna say compact car, but V12 in that thing. He was a big advocate of the V12. I mean, it was very small V12. That was the one thing about displacement was very small. And these pistons were super tiny on this. It was kind of crazy if you would have seen it. But, hey, he got him going to where, got the whole thing set up and got him prepared and where we're at today. So, and as we all know, kind of whole story going along and how everything progressed. With his life, he had a son, Dino, who unfortunately passed away at a very young age, from muscular dystrophy. And, they had the Dino came out. So it really didn't come out under the Ferrari brand, but, eventually it would be considered, it's a Ferrari. Hey, it was basically everything. It just wasn't built the Ferrari factory or anything like that. But, it's a gorgeous car. Now, I've tried to get into one because I was afforded the opportunity to drive one time, but I couldn't even fit in it. I'm a bit on the taller side. I'm a little over 6'1", and I just couldn't do it, and I wasn't going to try and attempt it because last thing I wanted to do was trash this person's car, wrecking their gearbox, trying to get the clutch to work, anything, because just my legs were just wrapped around the steering wheel. It just was not very comfortable, but super gorgeous car. Very enjoyable. And everyone, obviously, anyone knows driven it or, seen it, whatnot. It's an absolutely awesome little car. But then obviously, say we got to the 70s, 80s, everything's going through. And now, kind of a little side note, I'd be one of the weirdos out there, but I'm a big fan of the 412. I don't know, it's something about it. I just really like that kind of look to it. And, one of these days, if I can drum up enough cash, I'm going to buy myself one of those in a manual. Because I know something about it. I just really like them. I think it's kind of a unique car. It's a 4-seater, whatnot. It's kind of under the radar. Most people wouldn't realize it or seeing that actually was a Ferrari, but I don't know, something about it I just really like. I dig them. So, hey, but that's just me. I'm just a little bit on the odd side. So, but let's kind of talk about what they're going to be doing this year for the 7th anniversary and where things are headed, what they kind of got going on. Now, we know they've already dropped the 296. So basically that is, or I guess you would say, kind of the spiritual successor to the Dino. I'm looking forward. I'm hoping to get an opportunity down to Cavalino to be able to either drive one or at least go for a drive-in one. I've talked to a couple people that hopefully are going to set me up. I haven't got word back yet, but hopefully if I do, I'll get video of that. But that is such an awesome car. Everything I read about it, it's very deceptive and deceiving photos because it's not actually that big, but man, it's got a ton of power. Man, that thing's going to get up and go. And so I'm looking really, really forward to be able to go out and check out this car. It's just absolutely beautiful. So that's going to be one of my things I'm looking forward to when I get down there amongst everything else. But I suppose it also now is in the works, and I think it's going to come out this year in 2022, is they're working on the I'll say convertible, Targa, whatever you want to call it for that. They'll be coming out with it for this year. It's kind of been under wraps, but that's supposedly one of the things that they're going to drop for this year is putting that as a drop top for that car, which is going to look really, really cool with that thing being that way. Or if it's even it's kind of that Targa top look, like how the old Dinos were, just that Targa look to it. It's really cool. Just a little wind in your hair. To me, I think, it's nice. And this day and age, they can build those cars so rigid, you won't even know that anything's missing on the top. Back in the day, as many of you probably aware, is, those, when you had the convertible top, that cowl shake you'd get on those things was just absolutely crazy and drive you nuts going down the road. So, but, this day and age, they're able to do everything they can and whatnot with those things. So, I'm excited to see that. But the other big thing, and something that they said they were never going to do. And, old Luca Di Montebello, I'm hacking up his name, my apologies, but, I just don't speak Italian. But anyways, swore up and down, left and right. Ferrari will never produce an SUV. It's just not in our DNA. There's just no way we're a sports car, blah, blah. Well, as we all have seen the spy photos and stuff I posted on there, the people saying it's coming out. It's supposed to come out this year. It's actually supposed to be, late spring, early summer? It's supposed to drop. Now, it looks pretty cool from the spy shots. I mean, it's hard to tell because it got all the camouflage on it. But it's looking like it's going to be kind of interesting. Now, a lot of people are thinking that it's just going to kind of be a blown up, stretched out, or I guess how would you say, I'm going to say the FF or the Lusso. But looking at it, I don't get that impression. It doesn't seem to be as long and as that. It just seems like it's more squatty, short. I want to say not station wagon-esque, but it's not going to be something big and bulky like those butt-ass, ugly Bentley Bentaglias or whatever, and the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Those things are so ugly. I don't know about you guys, but man, those things it baffles me. Seeing some of those driving around and people spend the money on those things. I mean, I don't. That's just me personally. Hey, you know what? They're built phenomenal, everything like that. There are people buying whatnot, but I just don't get it. To me, a Rolls Royce, a Bentley, that's a big 4-door sedan driving in comfort, and that's my personal choice. And I don't know how everyone else feels there. Let me know. Drop me a note down there. Tell me what you guys think on that. But anyways. So I'm kind of looking forward to see that coming out. I highly doubt they're going to have something down at Canusa. There's no way they would. I mean, I know, maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe we'll have a big surprise showing down or something for it. But if they do, hey, I'll get some photos of it and spread them around. But, like I said, I'm curious to see when that thing drops. I would assume here, how they do it. They get the, prototypes that are just about ready for production out there in the hands of, a lot of these magazines and whatnot to start testing it. So maybe hopefully here we'll see something coming up in the next couple months with actual people that are not from Ferrari themselves out there test driving and get the impressions on it and see. So, but everyone's going to say, oh, it's blasphemy, it's going against the, but you know what? It's going to sell like hotcakes, and it's just going to be that much more adding to the bottom line of Ferrari. And hey, God bless them. But I'm curious to know is how many, if they're going to limit it, whatnot, coming out with special models, everything for it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach that with the SUV as compared to the road cars. Obviously you come up with all these special models and celebratory models and whatnot, like for the SF90 and that stuff, and throughout the years doing everything. But curious to see how they handle this with this SUV and what comes about, because I have a feeling it's going to be extremely successful. Unfortunately, we're probably going to see too, as they're going to you got to be one of those special people, previous or current Ferrari owner, got to own 5 or 10 of them, whatnot, to be able to get the first ones out the door, and then they'll turn around and sell them for triple the price and make a bunch of money. But so it remains to be seen. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of excited. I don't know how many you guys are, but I'm really excited to see how this comes out, because from what I've seen, I think that's going to be a really, really cool vehicle. But now, as I said, is the next big thing, I don't know about any of you guys, but I'm a huge F1 fan. Have been for God knows, many, 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 many years. So I'm looking forward to the new F1 season. Now, obviously, everything was supposed to happen all new this past season, but since COVID and everything like that hit, they pushed it off a year just because of money, whatnot. We had that crazy, the crazy year of no fans, no nothing. How they pulled off all those races is beyond me, but somehow, some way they did it. God bless them. But obviously, then last year they had return of the fans, everything like that. So, and everything's on board now. We're going to have the cost cap. Was it 140 million or 145 million for 2022 is your cost cap. So I'm really curious to see how this helps, the smaller teams. Now I know Haas really didn't even come close to, spending that kind of money. I mean, they think they're in like the 80 to 90 million range, doing it, but how their, unique approach to that, being basically, what was I saying, understudy, however their alignment is with Ferrari. I mean, you really don't hear much about it. When they first came in, it was, they were touting it big time in regards to how their collaboration with Ferrari is going to be and everything like that. And, that first year, they did phenomenal. They did really, really well right out of the gate. And everyone was like shocked. That doesn't happen with a new team. But then obviously reality set in. In-season improvements. They just were lacking in that department. But said all these other smaller teams, it's going to be interesting to see how they come out this year in regards to pace and just what they'll be able to do update-wise, everything along those lines, because everything's supposed to tighten up the racing. The new aerodynamics is supposed to create a lot more closer racing. You're supposed to be able to follow, especially going into corners, or maybe more it's got like a longer radius corner to it, not something so tight, where you can be able to follow the car and the airflow that's coming over and through the car in front of you is not, getting taken off of your car, where all of a sudden your whole front end washes out. You have no downforce and you got to back off, or you're just going to end up in the kitty litter. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But on the other side is the cars look gorgeous. I think those 18-inch rims look really, really good on those cars. It really kind of gives it a completely different look. I mean, to me, they look like how they should for the time and age we're living in. They were getting a little out of hand there with the size and everything like that, and just all the appendages and everything they were putting on these things. But to me, I think these things look phenomenal. So I'm really, really excited that. I mean, and it's crazy to think that we only got I think another couple of weeks. Was it? I think it was early February that Ferrari's going to drop, break the covers off of it. So I can't wait for that. And obviously they'll have their, winter testing, preseason testing now. How would they do it? They do it over there in Spain. So I can't wait for that to happen. That's going to be really, really awesome. And before you know it, racing is going to be here again. So have that season opener, man. It's going to be outstanding. Now, I know this year I'm going to try and make my way down to Austin. I got some family that lives down there, so I definitely want to hit up that one. I've been up to Montreal, was at Indy a bunch of times for when they had it at Indianapolis. I tell you what, man, if any of you have not ever been to an F1 race, you got to go. And I'm really, really excited to see how Miami's going to come out. That's going to be really cool too. I don't know so much be able to go there and physically watch the race, because you're really not going to be able to see much because of where they're racing and how the track's set up. But that's going to be really cool too. The track layout, everything like that's supposed to be really cool. Just looking at what I've seen so far online, it's supposed to be really, really good. So lots of cool stuff coming up in F1 for 2022. Not only just the new cars, but new races, Miami getting added, and it's just going to be outstanding. Now, I feel sorry for those teams and the guys working on the teams because, man, that's just a long haul for that season to be able to do that many races going all around the world like that. Not getting much of a break. I mean, man, that's just got to kill those guys. I mean, that's just. I mean, how do you have a home life or something along those lines? You're gone that much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if anyone out there that's listening takes a listen to this podcast and works on one of the F1 teams that's on one of the travel things, hey, drop me a line. Let me know. Shoot me an email. I'd love to talk to you. Let's get you on here and we'll chit chat a little bit and just about your experiences and how that works and what you guys do and like how far ahead. I'm really curious to find out more about that. Or hey, if you're retired from doing that, or you did it for a little bit, why not? Reach out to me, man. Drop me a line. Shoot me an email, William at theFerrariMarketplace.com. Let me know, and we'll chit-chat a little bit. We can set something up and get you on here. So, but kind of one last thing I want to end on. I came across this kind of doing a little research to get this first one off the ground, but I'll post it on the website. I'll post it on LinkedIn. I'll post it all over the place. But I hadn't heard about this. But there was a testing accident. Well, I say testing, but a test mule was out being run around, and they whoever was driving it had a bit of a problem. They crunched this thing big time. I mean, you'll see the video and the photos. Man, they whacked the front end really good. Now, it's got a SF90 body on it, but obviously it's just being disguised because it's got all the camo tape on and everything on it. So I'm really curious to know what they were doing. So I was just, more horsepower, whatnot. But I mean, I'll drop the video and you'll see for yourselves how bad this thing was crunched. So supposedly the driver was okay. Whoever was doing the driver, I guess they walked away. They were fine. Everything came in place. But the one thing that's interesting, you watch the video on that is, that front end got whacked hard and no airbags went off. So I don't know on these test mules if they don't have them, hooked up or they're not in or how that works. No idea. Anyone out there knows how that works in test mules, they're out on the road. They got to have that kind of stuff, hooked up or whatnot. Be curious to know because this person took a nice big whack in the front end, like dead nuts straight on, and, no airbags went off. So, curious about that. Anyone out there know the answer to that? Let me know. Be curious to find the answer to that. Shoot me an email or just drop it in the chat section and let me know. So, but I'll put that out there. So, but anyways, hey, this is the first one. Getting it out there, it's going to be extremely rough. I know, I get it. So I apologize. If I got some things wrong, whatnot. Again, I'm sorry. Trying to get this first one out. I got my notes here, but trying to go through it. As I do more, obviously, we'll get a little better flow to it and a little better information on it and, get a little bit longer. But, again, my apologies. Take it easy on me. Hey, got to start somewhere, right? But, hey, as I said before, if you're in the industry, if you work, somehow involved with Ferrari, you're just a big Ferrari fan, whatnot, you got something you want to talk about, shoot me an email, William at theFerrariMarketplace.com. And let's set something up. We'll chat. I want to try and do like 1-2 of these a week. Not keep them too long, too crazy. Something that someone can listen to on their way into work or what have you. Just nice, keep it around, half hour or whatnot. Hey, if it goes longer, it goes longer. It just depends on what we're talking about. As you start shooting doing everything is, just on some loose track of time. But said, shoot me an email. Let me know if you got any topics you'd like to discuss or topics you'd like me to talk about, whatnot, or anything you guys are curious about. Let me know. Like I said, I'm trying to expand what goes on with the Ferrari Marketplace. I want to do the podcast. I'm going to start doing the YouTube videos. And on there, we handle private client sales. So if you got something out there you want to handle off market, let me know. Got a database of clients, whatnot, kind of nose around looking for some specific vehicles. So, hey, you want to keep it hush-hush and, keep it on the down low because, as you know, something gets out there, your price gets out there, it gets known, hey, and all of a sudden that's what that car is priced at. It's like, hey, let's keep the values up. These cars are, basically, hey, this is artwork. It's been designated. These things are gorgeous vehicles. So let's do what we can to keep up values of these cars. So So, but like I said, hey, if you want to reach out to me, we handle off-market private client services, and sales and that. So, but anyways, like I said, take it easy on me. This was the first one. Just try and get the hang of this. And I said, you got to start somewhere. But listen, I really appreciate everybody listening. I said, shoot me an email with any of your thoughts, ideas. If you want to get on here and talk, hey, shoot me the email, William@theFerrariMarketplace.com. Hey, everyone, have a happy new year, and hopefully all goes well. And everyone, just remember, we're all in this together. Take care. Peace.
This episode has been brought to you by Grand Touring Motorsports as part of our Motoring Podcast Network. For more episodes like this, tune in each week for more exciting and educational content from organizations like the Exotic Car Marketplace, the Motoring Historian, Break Fix, and many others. If you'd like to support Grand Touring Motorsports and the Motoring Podcast Network, sign up for one of our many sponsorship tiers at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. Please note that the content, opinions, and materials presented and expressed in this episode are those of its creator, and this episode has been published with their consent. If you have any inquiries about this program, please contact the creators of this episode via email or social media as mentioned in the episode.